Hello, everyone. Um, on this video, I'll be talking about can I sit in the front? Can I sit in the front? I was asked that question a few times when I was doing rideshare, and almost every time I just said no, you can't sit in the front. There's reasons to that, and I'll get into that later. However, there were times that someone had to sit in the front. Now, the only time someone had to sit in the front is I go to pick someone up and that the rideshare companies was working for, they didn't really tell you how many people were going to be in your vehicle. So I would get to a spot like one time I went to the Rangers game and I picked up like about 4 to 5 people, and everyone was actually trying to fit in the back. And then once I already knew that someone was going to have to sit in the front with me. However, uh, the person at the time, they still asked, can I sit in the front? And I was like, sure, you can sit in the front. And the reason being, that's the only way, everyone was going to be able to fit. So that was really no big deal. It was a smooth ride, took them to where they had to go to. It was a hot summer day at the time. However, what I was never truly fond of, um, and I didn't really worry about it because I was able to control it, which was when I would pull up to someone and they see all this space in the back seat, but then they ask, can I sit in the front? And every time, like I said, I would say no. Because one, I don't know him or her. I don't know their motives and intentions. In fact, when someone would get in the backseat of my car, I would never have them sit behind me unless there was more than one person. But for the most part, I would try to have them sit to the opposite side. That way I could see if they are on some shenanigan times or, my life was a threat. But yeah, it always puzzled me because I always thought, why would you want to sit in the front? You know, because they didn't know me. The person that was asking, the different people would ask me. I'm like, y'all don't know me. I mean, I could be a criminal. I can have an agenda, a violent agenda, which I never did, of course. But they just didn't know. When I would take ride share, I would never ask anyone to sit in the front because I don't really know them. I'm already taking a risk getting in the vehicle, hoping that they get me there safe. But like I said, can I sit in the front? And the first time it was asked to me, I was like, they must be playing a joke. However, they were sincerely serious, and I sincerely told them no. Or they would be like, could I sit in the front? And they would try to say it slow. I'll wait for them to get to the end and say no. But as I continued driving, some of the clients got slick. So, would you like me to sit in the back or the front? Sit in the back, um, or one of the famous ones. You sure you don't want me to sit in the front? Yeah, I'm sure I don't want you to sit in the front. I don't know you, you know. And if I knew you, I still may not want you to sit in the front, depending on who you are. I may want you to get in the back. Um, but yeah, it just tripped me out. I was like, wow, you really trust me like that? I mean, I took that as a compliment. And a part of me thought that really had nothing to do with me. They probably were just used to sitting in the front. And I'm like, I was thinking at the time, with no malice intent, I was just like, well, I mean, if y'all want to sit in the front, drive your own vehicle, or ride with a family member or a friend. Um, but again, if there was a lot of people and one individual had to sit in front, that was no issue because it was a group of people and that was normal, you know. Just imagine, you driving, you on the road for about 4 to 5 hours, and you driving through traffic, and you pull up, you open the doors, and they just start walking to the front as if they family, or they're entitled because they did not ask. Sometimes some of the individuals didn't ask. I was like, oh, okay, they just have um, entitlement issues, or they have preconceived notions that I'm gonna just allow them to sit in my front seat. But every time I was like, nah, go ahead, get in the back, go ahead, get in the back. I'm like, I don't know. Why do y'all think that is? Why y'all think people that don't know you want to just sit in the front seat? I mean, the view is all the same. The leg space is all the same. About 99.8% of the time when I picked up a client, there was no one in the back seat. So I've had it to where some people dozed off and fell asleep. Some put their head on the window. Some like semi stretched out. They didn't put their feet on my whole back seat because I just wouldn't allow that to occur, of course. Um, but yeah, I never had one to sit in the front seat. Um, in fact, it got to a point where I wanted to understand where they were coming from. So for a few days, I took ride share myself. Sure enough, every time I took it, I never asked anyone when they pulled up to me like, "Hey, could I sit in the front?" Like, I mean, and my reasons for that was the only thing I could really tell about them was their rating, and their comments and things like that. But that don't mean that on that day they can just turn cruel or turn with actions that are unbecoming. You just never know a person's mental state. Of course, some of the things that we read going on with some of the individuals that do ride share, how they lose their lives, people rob them and things of that nature. So you never know. And this would happen at all times of day, usually in the afternoon, but sometimes like around between 9 and 11:30 at night. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not. The later it is, I'm letting you in my car because again, I'm being of service and helping people. But kid, I sit in the front. Don't no. Don't ask me that. You know, my thing is if you want to sit in the front, you better have a party with you. Then you can sit in the front. And even then, I still get to choose to sit in the front. Um, but yeah, that cannot sit in the front. It's just I don't know how many of you all out there do ride share. Um, maybe driving or just riding, as a client. Have any of you all ever asked anyone, can I get in the front? That's now I can see if now the back doors are working, then you ask, hey, can I get in the front? Because that's the only way you can get to where you need to go. That can I sit in the front? That's something that, like, they can ask. Again, they didn't commit any crimes. They didn't commit no murders, no misdemeanors. I didn't press no charges. But I'm like, yo, that's a question like for friends, a group of people going out, family, you know, cousins, the cousins that some get on your nerves or some that don't get on your nerves, but just randoms. Like, y'all don't watch them movies where people get kidnapped and things happen. But that's not the here or there. Again, doing ride share was, for the most part, it was always positive experiences. But one thing that kind of made me just shake my head is when, again, someone would ask, hey, can I sit in the front? And there were times I wanted to say, can you not ask me that? But there was no reason for me to be sarcastic. A simple no, a simple go ahead, get in the back, a simple no, you cannot. And every time I said one of those three things, I always got a good reaction. It was, no negative response. And that's good. I mean, I was dealing with people that didn't show that side of themselves that we all have. So yeah, those were some of my experiences, and within those experiences, that was one of the things that kind of got on my nerves. Um, but I mean, at the end of the day, I kept everything in perspective. After that, I still made it home safe, and I didn't have anyone try to rob me or put my life in danger. So I was grateful overall. But that cannot sit in the front. I mean, I sit in the front all of the time, but that's because I drive. So, um, but as do you. Anywho, anyone that's having a hard time in life, going through some challenges, feel as though they're the only one going through something, need some motivation, need some words of encouragement, excuse me, need real life experiences from me participating as a rideshare driver. Feel free to go to Amazon and get my book. You can also hit the link. The link is down there. You can grab the book. It'll definitely help you, help a friend, or it will even help an enemy. Um, but yeah, like, share, and subscribe, and that's all for today. Have a good one. Peace.